God bless you, the mental health pastor here, Fernando Cottrell, and this is day 14 of the 30 Days of Better is Possible Challenge. 30 Days of Better is Possible Challenge. And today I want to share something with you that I believe will be a blessing to you as a principle to use in 2024 and beyond, because this is something that I believe God wants us to understand and know. And I had to experience this the hard way until I finally understood it as a principle and begin to apply it in my life. And that is saying no without feeling guilty. Saying no without feeling guilty. You know, many times we want people to like us. We want to please people. We want to, let people, be accepted. But in an unhealthy manner with that mindset can really cause us a lot of emotional pain. And that mindset can also have us not saying no to things that we should say no to because we don't want to feel guilty. We don't want to not be accepted. We don't want to let others down. But in the meantime, we're letting ourselves down. When we say yes to things, when we know we should have said no, we create this inner turmoil of stress and anxiety. And and if we're not careful, our life becomes yes to everything. And in the name of not letting others down, we're actually letting ourselves down. And so I want to talk about that. And one way that I learned this, and it was the hard way to learn it, some years ago as a young man, I remember one friend came to me and said, "Can you get me to the airport by 2:30?" And I said, "Sure, I can get you there." Then about 10 minutes later, another friend called me and said, "Hey, I got to be to work early. Someone is called out. Someone has to go to, they're sick. They want to go to the ER. Can you, they asked me, and so can you get me there by 2:30?" And I said, "Sure, I got you." He said, "All right, great. I'm going to call them, let them know I'll be there." And soon as I hung up the phone, I was so convicted. I was overwhelmed with anxiety and stress because I made a commitment to someone. At the same time, I had a previous commitment, and it could have been easily not allowed that situation to occur just by me saying no. But I said yes when I should have said no. And that's what happens most of the time when we feel like it depends on who asks us. And if we feel like that person has done a lot for us, the tendency is to never say no, even at the expense of something harming you, even at the expense of maybe you missing an appointment. And so, but God has called us to use this word no. No is a mighty word. No is a word, when given the right scenario, is a word of blessing. We don't have to say yes to everything. Now, let me be clear. I'm not talking about helping people when you can and doing things, sometimes overextending yourself when you can. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about using no to bless us. No, God has called no to be a word of blessing, not just a word to oppose things. Because no to someone else means a blessing to us because we cannot do everything. One area where people say yes to is on a job. You ever want a job so badly and they give you the description, hey, you're going to have to work 13 hours a day. All of it is standing. You get a half-hour lunch break. They say all these things that in yourself, within yourself, you don't want a job that has to do with this. But you may feel like you have to take it. And then when you take it, you start complaining when you know off the back, off the jump, that they told you all the things that you didn't like, but you said yes to it. Now, I'm not talking about don't take a job because maybe there are times where you might have to do something. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is we're not honest with ourselves. Therefore, we're not honest with others. And then we begin to complain. We begin to act weird. We begin to gossip. Because when you say yes, when you should have said no, it creates an internal disruption of peace and joy because you're in something that you committed to, but your heart didn't commit. Your words committed. Your words went against what you felt in your heart. And many times we can see red flags, but when you don't say no, when you should say no, when you see something that may not be right, what you're doing is turning that red flag into a green flag. So many times God said no, and we painted the red flag over green, and we made that green a sign to go forward, and then it messes us up later on. And so you can say no without feeling guilty. God has empowered us to say no. No is a word of blessings. No is a word that can safeguard your peace. No is a word that when used right and properly and in the strength and of the Spirit of God, and when it's used right, it's a word that saves your life. It's a word that protects you from the enemy. And so we can say no without feeling guilty because we're saying no from a place of from the facts of the matter. And so I try my best to make decisions from facts, because if I make it from facts, I can say yes or no from the facts, not just all the time from my emotions, because emotions will lie. Emotions will have you having false starts and committing to things that you can't last in because you shouldn't have said yes to it. If we're going to say yes to anything, say yes to no. Do y'all hear anything in that? Let's start saying yes to the word no. I submit to no when it's time to be used to protect me and to guard me and to help me overcome scenarios. And so I trust that this word encourage you. No is a word of blessings. No is a word that God uses to help you. He tells us to resist the enemy, resist the devil. In other words, say no. No is a word of deliverance. No can be a word of freedom. We're saying no to bondage. We're saying no to sin. We're saying no to temptation. We're saying no if I feel like it's not right, or if I have a conflicting schedule. Because that no doesn't mean you don't desire to help. No is saying at this moment, I have something that I'm doing, but give me an hour or two. No, it's not an absolute in the sense you're never going to help a person. So you don't have to feel guilty like it's the end of your life because you just unable to partake in something right now with this person. Does that make any sense? Right now I'm in school working on my doctorate of education degree. And so I'm in study a lot. I'm in research. I'm in, homework and term papers. And so there are times people call me, hey, can you do this? Hey, you want to come down and do this? And I said, well, I would love to, but I got a term paper due at midnight. Hey, I would like to do that, but right now I'm in study and I'm researching something and I can't do that. So there's nothing wrong with lining up their request to what you got going and see if there's a way to do it. And then sometimes it's no. So it's nothing wrong with saying no based on facts. And if, anyway, just that's a short piece of it. I hope it stimulates some interest in you to pursue this topic more. And we may do another video on this because this is a powerful, powerful topic, because we're living in too much guilt and shame. And we're not in freedom because we're saying yes to so many things. And then when you say yes to things that you should say no to, you begin to complain. You begin to become a complainer and find a fault finder, all because you said yes when you should have said no. All right.